Hello, friends. Um, so I'm going to tell you about the time basically between the end of my crazy scheme and leading up to going to prison. So there were some people involved who became involved as time went on, and in the scheme, but not knowing that it was not on the up and up. And I kept them in the dark like that because I really thought we could turn things around, and so smart people becoming involved with it, feeling that they were going to help fix a problem, uh, had an opportunity to genuinely fix a problem, and so I welcomed some help from a handful of very smart, decent people, and I've I've when it all came down to it, I felt pretty bad for feeling like they were let down. Um, but we were trying to fix the situation, get people paid back, and everybody was kind of hoping for the best. And so in that amount of time, kind of, I guess I lost my wits about me for a bit. I didn't really quite know what to do, and I did some really foolish things. Uh, Obviously, after doing some colossally foolish things, and so I was broke as well. I wasn't. I didn't have any of the money. I basically distributed it out among people, um, as what happens when you have a scheme that is based on the later investors paying out the early ones, paid out the early ones, and they a lot of them vanished off into the shadows. Can't hardly blame them. They just took the opportunity. So I had nearly no money. I mean, we played gigs. The band played gigs a lot on the weekends, maybe some extended multi-day runs, but for the most part, uh, that didn't resort in any more money than just to be able to get by living, much less pay anybody back. And so I remember uh, having about 45 bucks in cash in my pocket. And it was in the morning, and my girlfriend had gone to work. She worked as a salesperson at Macy's in the mall. And she left about 9 in the morning, and I had this cash on me, and I knew that there was nothing I could do with this cash to put it somewhere and turn it into something except maybe go to a casino. And this was before Illinois had slot machines in every bar and gas station across the state. So there's a casino about an hour away down in Metropolis from Carbondale. And so took 45 bucks in the little uh, Honda car I had as the 1990. Oh, I had about 300,000 miles on it, and got in the car, and I bought a 12 pack of beer and drove down. Had about a quarter tank of gas, probably, maybe less than a quarter tank. So got to driving from Carbondale, got on Interstate 24, and saw the gas gauge was really low. Passed by the Vienna exit, and was like, "Oh, I'll make it down to Metropolis. It's only another few miles or so." And then the car started sputtering and coming to slow, and the gas pedal didn't work so well. And this was the middle of winter time, and I left in a pretty much a hurry. I was wearing a t-shirt and a leather jacket that wasn't like a winter leather jacket, and Crocs on my feet and no socks. I didn't think I was going to be out in the weather, and so I remember pulling off the exit there at uh, Bay Bridge, Bay City. What is the one? Either way, pulled off an exit, got to the top of it, and, and I pulled over, and couple of young guys pulled up behind me, and they were kind of looking at each other and talking to each other. And I remember thinking, "Is this what's going to happen here?" And they sat for a minute. I thought they might want to talk or something, but then said they just drove on off. And I don't know if maybe they thought about something nefarious, opportunity to be robbed, or maybe we should help this guy. Maybe actually he seems a little sketchy and strange, so they might have been scared of me. I don't know. But I thought, well, maybe I can just coast on down the way, get pretty close. Metropolis has only got to be about 2 or 3 more miles down the way. So I kind of coasted down the exit back on the interstate for another eighth of a mile, but I was done. At that point, the car was completely out of gas. And I pulled over to the side and not really knowing exactly what to do. And so it was a pretty cold winter day. You know, uh, I started walking in my Crocs and my leather jacket. I thought, well, hopefully it's only a couple miles up the way, or maybe even less. And I even forgot to lock the car. Just kind of left it on the side of the interstate. Had my laptop in there and stuff. And just didn't lock it. And I was walking, and the next thing I know, a semi pulls over. And he's like, I need a ride. Get on in. Like, oh, and I didn't have my thumb out or anything. I wasn't really trying to hitchhike. I never hitchhiked before. I'm like, oh no, I figure I'd just go on up to Metropolis here. And it's like, yeah, it's a lot farther than you think. Hop on in. And so I did. And yeah, I didn't even try to hitchhike. Just nice truck driver. And we were talking a little bit, and he said he was going to be stopping up at the casino. He was on a run from somewhere, Iowa or something, on down to wherever, but he was going to stop and I didn't let on that I was trying to get there, but got stranded. So he took me to a gas station, and I had $45 in cash on me, and so I bought a can. It cost $3 or $4 or something like that, I guess, and about $10 worth of gas. And then I asked the cashier, "You think anybody in here maybe is going back up the interstate? Could give me a ride?" And so she just hollered out, "Hey, anybody going back up that way?" Some guys, people drinking coffee and stuff. I was like, "No, not me, no." She said, "But I can call the state police for you, though, and see if they can give you a ride," which made me concerned because I'd already had some dealings that I thought that there literally could be a warrant out for my arrest. And I wasn't quite sure. I hadn't followed up, and I just didn't know. But I didn't have much other choice. And so I said, okay, go ahead. If you wouldn't mind, please call them. And a state trooper showed up a little bit later, and I said, you're stranded up the road there? I said, yeah, I just bought some gas. Okay, well, I'm going to need to, just because of the ride, I need to see your ID and run it. I said, okay. Gave him my license, and he ran it, and I was like, okay, that's cool. So I learned that there wasn't. And so it's kind of a funny feeling in a way. You have these weird threats from people and all this different stuff, and but nothing's official, and you don't really know it until you encounter that in such a strange situation. So the state trooper drove me back up to my car, and lo and behold, nobody had stopped and broken out the windows or stolen my laptop or anything. Everything was still there. Even the 12-pack of beer, which was, well, it might have been a 10-pack at that point. And open there. And I thought, I'm so lucky. I am the luckiest guy ever. All this stuff. I should just go home. I won. Nobody has to know about this. And I thought about that for a couple of minutes. And sure enough, I came to the conclusion, well, this is my lucky day. I'd be ashamed to waste it by not going to the casino. So I better go to the casino, what with it being my lucky day and all. So I guess I had about $30, you know, and so I went into the casino and dropped that $30 into one slot machine, max bet $30, hit spin, and it won the jackpot of $10,000. I'm kidding. I put it in 25 cents at a time, and over the course of an hour, slowly lost it and lost my uh, self esteem and everything else until I got back in the car and drove home with nothing. And got home before my girlfriend got home from work. I made sure to clean up the dishes and make sure the kitchen was in pretty good shape. And she's like, "Hey, how are you? How was your day?" "Oh, fine. How was yours?" And I said, "Oh, I did a little writing and a little reading and stuff, trying to do some cleanup around here. Nothing much." "Okay." Just absolutely secretive about everything because I become accustomed to just being completely secretive over those last 2 or 3 years, uh, to the detriment. When you hold secrets in, they have a physical effect on you, and it makes you an unhealthy person. And it's not a good thing. And so she had kind of been harping on me a little bit to just get at least some kind of part-time job while the band was, doing not as many shows and things. And there was an opening at Macy's there for a housekeeper. And it was 20, 25 hours a week, you know, vacuuming the floors, cleaning the bathrooms, and stuff like that in the department store. And so, with her recommendation and all, I went in and I applied and they gave me the job. And it was actually a pretty good job. And because so little was expected for appreciation, literally not failing to vacuum behind the booths of the jewelry are, and not failing to dust the shoes, the shoe department and stuff like that. Simple things, and just being nice to other co-workers and all, just being pleasant enough to be around, being pleasant enough to the customers. If you had the sign the door or the sign on the door of the women's bathroom that says closed for cleaning, and they had 3 or 4 children with them that they were navigating the mall and getting there, and they said, "Oh my gosh, please, can I just go in there, help me out?" Then yes, absolutely, no problem. We're all getting along here, and it's a pretty okay job. And so I'm working the job. Sometimes I show up at 6 in the morning. Other times it's more of a afternoon thing. And I I get a message from one of the people who were trying to help fix the disastrous scheme with all these people needing to be paid. And he said, "Hey, just so you know, federal agents kicked in my door today, and they came in with bulletproof vests and machine guns, and they confiscated all of my computers. And don't take this the wrong way, but the best thing I can do for you, Hugh, is to tell you to go turn yourself in because they already know everything. And that is the kindest thing I can do for you, my friend." And I felt really terrible that that traumatic thing happened to somebody who was just trying to help me. And so I did that. I sent an email to the investigators because they had posted on a message board saying, if you have any information or if you've been involved with uh, this scheme by this person, then please reach out to this address, email and phone number and mailing address and everything. So I sent them an email and I said, I believe that you are trying to ultimately contact me and I have some things to tell you. And so everybody thought I was an absolute idiot for doing that. My girlfriend was livid. Uh, my family and my friends, they thought I was the most naive imbecile ever, because obviously what I'm supposed to do is get a lawyer, perhaps raise money to get a lawyer to fight these charges and accusations, and fight all the way to make sure to not have to go to jail for things, because obviously that's absurd. It makes people uncomfortable for their partner, their brother, their son, their bandmate, their friend, their acquaintance, the coworker, to come to terms with the fact that that they're a criminal, and it's an understandable feeling, and especially if you've been kind of secretive, and it's a shock. And so I sent them an email. A couple days later, I got an email back, and they said, "Why don't you come meet with us up in Fairview Heights?" And that's where the local office was. And so I said, "Okay." And I showed up and went into a room, and they were like, "So, you sent us an email. What would you like to talk about?" And it was just kind of a blank slate sort of a thing. And so I just began telling every bit of truth that I possibly could, including the fact that it was me alone who did the thing, and anybody else who might or might not have been contacted were not responsible. And also, I couldn't tell them that I heard from somebody who was not supposed to speak to me. You know, I was not supposed to be notified that they had entered that fella's place in the way that they did. And then I thought about it later. I was like, well, maybe that was some fun reverse psychology, that maybe they would play on my conscience if I had one, and do the whole, I'm not supposed to tell you this, but, and if so, I'm happy to have fallen for it, because life wasn't very good. There was a dark film over everything. It was impossible to feel joy. It was impossible to look forward to things. And because it was just such an ugly cloud for about a year and a half or 2 years, that everything positive had an ugliness to it that wasn't going to work out well. I remember we were so fortunate to get to play the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. It was really a prestigious thing. And I think there's videos on YouTube of it from 2007. And it was one of those early things that was going to be live streamed. So people got back home, got to see it live streamed, and people showed up, and it was a packed house of people in tuxedos and things. And they had this concert series that we were so fortunate that our agent got to book us on. And before going up to it, I got some ominous messages because it was advertised that people were going to see it. You know, people that were very upset with me. Like, have a great show, buddy. You know, and just that kind of haunting, ugly fear of everything is tainted. Even the greatest things, they're just, and it's my fault. And I am totally to blame for putting that on myself. And I didn't tell people that. I didn't tell the rest of the band, that it just can't take away their joy and excitement. You know, this is all my fault. And it's a heavy thing to kind of hold on to. And people would show up at shows, you know, sometimes just out of curiosity, sometimes because they genuinely like the band, and other people just to make me feel really uncomfortable. And I tried to play it down as well as I could, just not make a thing of it, and and just roll with it. But just such discomfort, and that went on for so long, and you don't know how long that's gonna go. It could go on forever. And so the idea of turning yourself in and saying all the crimes that you've committed compared to just this uh, amount of time that could go on without ceasing, where people can always remind you of what you did and what you were technically getting away with. And so it was just such a welcome thing to finally say, I am guilty. Here is everything to the investigators, and none of it is shielding me from responsibility. And this is the closest thing that there can ever be to having peace and maybe turning over, uh, you know, back to a life of integrity and hopefulness and all. And so I'm really against the wishes of all the people close to me. I never, ever regret sending an email to the investigators and saying, I have some things to tell you. It was the very, very smart choice. So I appreciate y'all listening. I hope you enjoyed some of these kind of stories and me talking about some of this stuff. In a way, I hope if it's relatable, I hope it's helpful in its relatability. And but I hope you enjoy it. And I'm trying to grow this channel. So if you wouldn't mind subscribing, that would really mean a lot to me. And hope to talk to y'all again here soon. Take care.